now what's left is the top. So the top is in the halftone. It's neither light nor shadow. It's more like the color of the paper. So without adding any charcoal, I'm just going to put my blender right on the line, push the lines to the inside. I get a nice flat top. So now I have light, medium, dark. Put my blender on the line, push the lines to the inside so that the lines begin to disappear, and I have a plane, flat plane that is not in the light and not in the shadow, just a little halftone. Now, we have to do highlights and dark accents. This is where making your shapes really three-dimensional pops them off the paper, gives your drawing a lot of strength. So in our shadow, we have a darker part of the shadow where the reflected light is not hitting. In drawing books, they call this the core shadow. Pretty easy to see if you look at this pyramid. This pyramid, this is in the shadow. This light on this object is reflecting a little bit into the corner here and causing what we call reflected light. And therefore, this part next to the light looks darker. If we lighten this, it becomes part of the light. So what an artist does is you leave this as your shadow and you darken the darkest part. Now you see right here on the edge is the brightest part of the pyramid. So when you have something really dark and really light come together, it tends to pop it forward. So we can use this illusion to enhance our artwork. So I take my charcoal and I'm going to make this darker. So I make a nice, firm, sharp line. Now I keep this side of the line, but I want to hide the left side of that fat line. And so I use my blender, I use my charcoal like a blender, and I start fading this back. Suddenly this looks like reflected light because of the darker shadow. I've done nothing to it. And it changed all by itself. Alright, I use my blender to let it fade. My kneaded eraser, and I'm going to make this edge very sharp and very white. I can make that edge really nice and sharp and bright. Did my blender smooth this back line? Okay, you see how much more dramatic this is than these? So we're going to do that the rest of the objects. We make our dark in the front, blend it into the rest of the shadow, pull it back with my charcoal, and use my blender to make a very seamless transition. Blend right back. Use my kneaded eraser and make this highlight next to the darkest part of the shadow, so it really, this edge pops forward. Okay? Same thing on the square. Make this edge that's closest to us the darkest. Let it blend into the shadow, the charcoal. Use my blender to smooth the transition. Very light touch, just enough to get it so the transition is smooth. Use my kneaded eraser for the highlight. I'm going to make this edge nice and sharp, very bright. Okay, now on the rest round objects, a little more difficult to accomplish this because all the edges have to be soft. Now the darkest part of the shadow is not on the edge, but closer to the light. So very carefully we have to put an extra dark here near the light. But we have to be very careful not to create a sharp edge. So with my blender, very carefully and slowly smudge the edges of that dark so that it looks soft, but it doesn't disappear. With the charcoal, you can work back and forth a little bit. So you watch it with your eyes. Now I'm starting to see it happen. Starting to see that this is a bit darker. Reflected light is showing up on the outside edge. All the edges here are soft. Same thing with the comb. Darkest part happens not on the edge, but more near the center. So I want to carefully put in just a bit darker. Take my blender, very light touch, and smooth it so there are no definite edges, and yet I don't lose the darker part that I put in. Nice and soft. So the highlight on a round object is going to be round. So I center it in the light, I push and I twist, and I get a nice highlight. In the cone, the highlight does not go on the edge, but it goes in the middle of the white part. Let me smooth out our line here. Prepare cone. So I'm going to go from here to here, make my highlight go in the center. So in the center. Beautiful. All right. Now cast shadow. There's these long cast shadows that go back here, but I don't want to confuse the beginning student. So here's a way to put the shadow in so our objects aren't floating away. When I look here, there's a little bit of dark right in the front, and then it kind of fades away. So I press hard to make it dark, and then I kind of lift off and let it fade back. So the front is dark, and then it fades away. Dark, and it fades away. Dark in the front, fades away. Put a lot of pressure and lift away. Press hard, let it lift away. Press hard, let it fade away. Under the sphere is small, fades away, fades away. Lastly, I take my paper towel, smooth out any fingerprints or smudges, any guidelines. Make my drawing nice and neat, like it took no effort at all to draw it. Now you've learned everything that you need to know, and don't forget to sign your